Hey guys, welcome back to Sow Love. Thank you for joining me today. Today is the second day of spring. I'm out here knocking a few things off of my garden prep, summer prep to-do list. So I wanted to let you know what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn the camera around. So I have mixed some peat moss, some topsoil, some mushroom compost, azomite, rock minerals. I'll show you what that looks like. I ordered this offline, and it's a great way to add minerals into the soil. It's awesome for plants. It's a great organic fertilizer, but the most important thing, it adds minerals into your soil. So I am about to up pot some of the seedlings that I've started, as they're getting a little bit too big for their pots they're in. So again, it's peat moss, topsoil, mushroom compost, blackkow, and also some azomite clay mix, rock minerals. So I just toss that into the soil or kind of mix it together. And I did equal parts mushroom, topsoil, peat moss, and maybe about half of the blackkow, and then about a good maybe half a cup of the rock minerals. So I mix that the rock minerals just into the top portion, and then when I get down to the bottom half, I'll add a little bit more of the rock minerals and I'll mix that in. So this is what it's looking like, and this is what I'm going to up pot the seedlings that I started into. So I have these, some of them will go into these pots, and then yesterday I spent some time organizing all of my trays and all of my pots. So some of them will go into the larger pots. So we have a couple weeks until we plant anything like tomatoes and, you know, more your warm season crops in, but they've gotten big enough to where they're ready, or they'll be ready very soon to up pot. So I also have some seedlings that I've started out here in the greenhouse. I've been doing a lot of just tests. Y'all know this is my first year with the greenhouse, so used to starting things inside and in the seed starting trays. So in terms of regulating the temperature in the greenhouse, that's a new adjustment. So I brought some seedlings that I started inside, and I put them in the greenhouse just to see how they would do. And I had a feeling they might not survive, but it was definitely a temperature shock for them. So you can see these are all tomatoes. They burnt pretty much like a crisp. So, and then these were some things that I actually left outside. These are both peppermint pots. And I got these about a month ago, but I know peppermint or mints are usually a perennial. So I'm going to see if those come back. I'll keep them around for a little while. And I've known some things to even, you know, look like they're dying, and the next year they come back. So we'll see. So these are all okra, different types of okra. And I've never actually started them from seed. I usually all direct sow. So this is again another experiment to see how they do, just going from a greenhouse or from a pot into the garden in a few weeks. These are longevity spinach cuttings that I purchased online. And so these are fairly easy to root, like they all came bare root. So I just stuck them in the ground, or stuck them into the potting soil, and you can see there's new leaves already coming in on some of them, on most of them really. So that's a perennial that you can harvest cuttings off of, but it will, you know, it tastes, I tasted it, tastes similar to spinach, but a little bit of a different texture. So lots of good health benefits, and a great way to have a spinach-like green in the summertime when, you know, spinach will normally bolt. So we'll see how this does, but it's one that I'll have around in the garden for years to come. Zinnia, I've started several zinnia seeds actually in ground and in the greenhouse, and you can see these are doing very well. This is actually comfrey. So I purchased a comfrey root off of line, and then I started some seeds from a friend who shared her seeds with me. So this is one of the seeds that's coming up. And again, I experimented. I started 4 different comfrey seeds. So this one was started inside, and you can see it started to dwindle off a little bit from being in the greenhouse, but it's also showing a pretty nice healthy root, or leaf. So that's a good sign. And again, this is just kind of experimentation to see what works and what doesn't work. So comfrey has a lot of benefits for your garden. It's a very healing plant. You can use the leaves to make like a comfrey tea. It's a great fertilizer, and actually you can chop up the leaves and add it into your mulch. So I'm looking forward to having that in the garden. So I have like 3 other seedlings here, or that I've started, and then I have 2 roots that are showing signs of new growth as well. So look into comfrey and look into adding that into your garden. It has some medicinal benefits as well, but I'm more so going to grow it primarily to help fertilize and mulch my garden. Let's see what else is new. I'm starting some things here. This is like the winter sowing method. I'm just starting it in the greenhouse, and the reason I'm starting these here is to see how quickly they might sprout as opposed to being outside. So these are all marigolds, and one, let's see, I labeled it. Oh, this is one of the gray poppy flowers, the amazing gray poppy it's called. So I'm very anxious to see how this does being in the winter sowing, or using the winter sowing method. Because I had some success with sowing them into the garden. Like at first there were a lot of them that came up, and then now it looks like there are only like 3 or 4. And then I know this is probably fairly late to start these, because I think they like kind of landing on cold soil. So we'll see. Cross my fingers, cross your fingers that it comes up and does well. But these are marigolds, and y'all know marigolds are great for deterring pests, and those actually have some medicinal benefits as well. So I'm going to take you out into the yard so I can show you some of the seedlings that I brought outside. So these are some of the seedlings that I'm hardening off. And this is borage, there's some herbs, there's some, what is this called? Malabar spinach, which those were looking really, really good inside. Chamomile tea. And I see some of these are already in a little bit of shock. Like these were all standing up when I first brought them out. So the idea with hardening off is that you want to introduce them slowly to the temperatures outside. That also strengthens their stems, their main stem, so that way they can stand up and be stronger when you plant them out into the garden. So that's what I've started doing today. So they'll get a couple hours in the shade today and probably tomorrow. I've asked my husband and kids to bring them outside and bring them back inside. So this will last for a couple weeks. They'll spend a few days in the shade, and then they'll spend a few days in the sun, just getting acclimated again to temperatures. And then in a couple weeks, they'll be ready to go into the garden. So these are some tomato plants I'd actually like to start up potting possibly today, just because you can see they're overcrowded and some of them have gotten quite big. So we'll see how that goes. And what I want to do is actually start some seeds today from some tomato plants that I lost. Like these right here are not looking too good, so I'll probably restart these seeds. And this one looks like it didn't come up, so that is the plan for today. And then you can see some of these seeds over here, some success and then some, kind of dwindled off. So that is the garden plan today. This is actually a bitter melon vine, and I actually only planted one seed just because the research I've made or done, it looks like it can get pretty big. But there are a lot of health benefits using the bitter melon plant in terms of controlling and regulating blood sugar and things like that. So I will be trying that out this year, along with a lot of different new and different variety of tomatoes. So I'm so looking forward to just a really nice harvest from my garden. And also I'm preparing to do a plant sale soon, so fingers crossed that goes well also. So I did want to show you before I ended the video what I'm going to be using as a fertilizer. So this is Fox Farm liquid plant food, and you can see it's a 644. So I think that's a pretty good even number in terms of doing the up potting for the tomatoes. It'll give them a nice healthy root establishment. The nitrogen, y'all know that helps to produce nice healthy leaves, and then the other numbers will help to regulate and balance everything else out. So this is what I'm trying out this year. Hopefully that goes well. Yeah, so this got rated really good online, and I got a couple of their other fertilizers as well to try out in the garden this year, so I'll let you know how that goes. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you clicking on my video. Let me know some things that you're doing in your garden today on the second day of spring. What do you have planned for the week as far as the garden goes? What are you looking forward to growing? So I will see you in the next video. Please click on the like and subscribe. If you haven't found me on Instagram, please follow me there. You'll see some of the late harvests that I've done from my garden, and you'll see more of a daily post in terms of pictures go. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye guys.